Hi, and welcome to the first instalment of Tuesday Talk, where I post a question to West Ham fans on social media, see their replies, and then respond to a few of them. Today's question was, realistically, who do you want West Ham to sign as a striker, and include the name? Generally, there was quite a mixed response, and other people put different players in different positions, which I'll still go over. But striker-wise, there was a mixed response for different names, but some similarities at the same time. Players like Rondon and Mitrovic kept cropping up, players we've been strongly linked to in the window, and some other names which I'll talk about and give my thoughts on. Striker is a main position that needs strengthening in this transfer window. This has actually been the case for the last few transfer windows. We've needed to find a striker that is capable of scoring at this level and who scores consistently. And in more recent times, the closest we've had to that is Chicharito. Unfortunately, when David Moyes came in, Chicha ended up getting stuck on the bench and really wasn't maximised to his potential. And now that Chicharito is likely to leave the club, Andy Carroll is leaving and Lucas Perez has already gone, we're lacking in striker options. We need somebody to support Arnautovic up front, somebody who has a bit of pace, a good eye for goal, possibly even somebody that's used to the Premier League. But we definitely need that position filling again. It's actually kind of ridiculous how since Golden Sullivan came into the club, we've gone through at least 50 strikers to try and find the perfect one. We've had so many names come in, trying to make a difference for the club, and it's not worked out, partly because of them not adapting or just because they've been trash signings. For example, like Jonathan Kayeri was. So, without any further ado, let's get straight into your answers. So, Charles here says, one who is youngish, hungry, and able to withstand Premiership pressure. Youngish and hungry is definitely, I think, going to be a priority, given that Mark Noble has told Pellegrini not to sign ageing players, which I think is the right thing to do. We can't be signing 31, 32-year-olds who are knocking on a bit. We just need young, fresh talent, which I think is a definite must for us. Withstand Premier League pressure, yeah, obviously, of course, but if we get someone from overseas who's never played in the Premier League, they might adapt very quickly. I mean, the Premier League's got a very nice style to it, might suit them very well. That said, with youngish, I think you could say that a striker's prime years are between 27 and 31. I mean, that's when they tend to really blow up and score the most goals. So we could get somebody in with that range, like Brahimi from Porto, who's 28 years old, or maybe somebody within that age range since being in the Premier League. But it's still youngish, yeah. Okay, but I wouldn't mind someone in the 27-year-old, because that's still quite young and a good age for a striker. We should go all out for Sebastian Haller from Frankfurt. Yeah, he's another name we've been linked with, actually. And we're also linked with his teammate Luka Jokic, who's actually now gone to Real Madrid. And it's a bit of a surprising move there. But Haller is definitely a very good player. And 27 Bundesliga appearances last season. He got 14 goals. And he looks a very good striker as well. He's also 24 years old, so he's very young. He's definitely worth into consideration, but I wouldn't mind having him. I mean, he can do it in the Bundesliga and show some pretty good statistics. I'm pretty sure he can replicate that in the Premier League. I'd take both Rondon and Mitrovic right now. They are realistic targets. Upgrades on Perez and Carroll. Rondon will definitely score goals, and Mitrovic plays with so much grit and passion. He will be a hit at West Ham, and whether people like him or hate him. Forget Gomez. He won't come to West Ham now that ship has sailed. Sorry. Yeah, I'd agree. I'd take Rondon and Mitrovic purely because they've got eye for goal. Rondon in particular does. I liked him at West Brom. When he was on loan at Newcastle last season, he was a talismanic player, and he was probably one of their most essential players, along with Jose Perez up front. Mitrovic, it's not necessarily eye for goal for Mitrovic, but he's quite a physically strong striker. Him and Arnautovic would share that strength quality up front, so they'd be good as well. They're definitely upgrades on Perez and Carroll, that is for sure. And Gomez, yeah, probably could forget about Gomez, but he still is in the mix. And I'm not sure really what to think with Gomez. He probably could be going to Valencia, he may go to another club, but we are still in the hunt for him, and yeah, I think we could probably still get him as well. But if not, Rondon and Mitrovic were definitely very good replacements. I'd have Rondon. I like Mitrovic. I just feel he has a personality like Arnie, and I think they might not all get on. Might split the camp. Someone like that, Che Adams lad from Birmingham, might be a sneaky punt on. Mitrovic does have a personality like Arnie, like I said in the previous response. I would agree with that. Whether they get on or not, I don't really think they would hate each other. They have a Serbian connection. Arnautovic is second generation Serbian. Mitrovic is from Serbia as well. So they might have that connection and get on, I think. Che Adams from Birmingham, he is quite a good player. He's one of Birmingham's better strikers, and I think he was one of the most dominant in the Championship last season. We've seen players come from the Championship and excel in the Premier League. Players like, Chris Wood at Burnley has done. He's had back-to-back 10-plus goal seasons for them. Dele Alli from Spurs, and also other players that have come up from the Championship, such as, like for us, Aaron Cresswell, who's come in at left-back spot and has been decent over there. So signing a Championship player, it's worth a punt on. I mean, there are some very talented players in the upper end of the Championship, and some of them will be targeted by Premier League clubs. Either Marega, Mitrovic, or Gomez for striker. Marega and Gomez would be signings of real intent. Mitro is realistic, though. Would like to see Shaqiri come in too. Marega, there's a lot of hype about Marega. I understand that he is leaving Porto, but when I saw his highlight tape, he wasn't too great. If it was between Marega and Brahimi for Porto, I'd go with Brahimi, purely because he can also be a dual threat and play on the wing. Gomez would definitely be a sign of real intent. Yeah, it would be a next level signing for us, and there's a lot of hype about him. People in La Liga are calling him the next Luis Suarez. Shaqiri predominantly plays as a winger. I don't, to some extent, feel a winger would be a position that does totally need filling, because we got quite a few wingers in the squad. The only one concern with the winger position is Yarmolenko getting injured again, which I am kind of worried about. Because he got injured at Dortmund, then he got injured with us, and I just don't want him to go through another season where he's injured again. So, that said, we probably could do with a bit of a backup winger, but we do already have that with Diane Garner, Snodgrass, Antonio, even Stig Anderson on the wing. So I don't think winger is a position that really does need filling, so I wouldn't necessarily want Shaqiri. Other than that, though, Gomez would definitely be a real intent signing, like I say. So I would agree on that. Tammy Abraham, or perhaps go after a striker like Alexander Isak from Dortmund on loan with the option to buy. We need to try and build for the future. Tammy Abraham, I'm not really sure about that one. I would say no, really, for that one, because I don't think he's next level. I mean, he's done really good in the Championship, and he did well with Swansea. I wouldn't go for Tammy Abraham just out of my own personal preference. Alexander Isak, I don't really know too much about. Loan with an option to buy, okay, fair enough, but that just tests the water a little bit to see how he adapts to the Premier League, and then buy him if he's good. We need to try and build for the future, yeah, definitely. That's why we need to get them young and get them when they're like 21, 22-year-old players, so that we can keep them for a long run and they can grow into West Ham. Dack, I'd take a chance on him. Bradley Dack from Blackburn, yeah, very good player. I mean, he could probably replicate in the Premier League what James Maddison did with Leicester, because Bradley Dack's a very good midfielder. I think he's probably one of the best, if not the best, in the Championship right now. He's played 90 games for the club, and I believe he has something like 36 goals for Blackburn. Pacey commands the midfield. He is a very good player as well, I think, and he's another Championship player we should probably take a bet on, because one we could have had a go on was Jack Grealish, but now he's been promoted, his fee's gone up, and I reckon he's going to stay at Villa, so Bradley Dack definitely wouldn't be a bad alternative. So yeah, there are quite a few names are flying around, but the two commonalities there were Rondon and Mitrovic. Both players very Premier League proven. They've adapted to the league quite well. They're very settled in the league. Rondon has also worked at Malaga with Huselos and Pellegrini, so he already knows and understands Pellegrini's philosophy, understands his style of play. He would come into the club and he'd settle in very quickly, and that's definitely not a bad shout. Rondon, he's not exactly like your big name, ooh, wow factor signing, but he's a good player. he's like a good number 9 striker. Mitrovic, yeah, I think he's strong. Not necessarily like the eye for goal, Mitrovic, but definitely somebody I would take a get on. Maybe even someone like we said earlier in the lower leagues. I wouldn't mind that either, or maybe get someone in from abroad. Who knows, but we definitely need a striker regardless, because now we've got players leaving. We need someone either as a backup or as a regular starter alongside Arnautovic. A player that can be tailored around Arnautovic's needs, someone that can provide him service and help him with the goals. So, yeah, a striker is definitely needed this summer. That's it for this week's Tuesday Talk. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. For more content, subscribe. If you want to check out my blog link, it's included within the channel and goes over several content in there. For all your West Ham news fresh off the press, just hit From the Anvil. Come on, you Irons.